It was in focus and trade on Monday. The stock fell almost 6% as governance concerns around ICICI Bank and the loan approval to Videocon remained on the agenda. Let's welcome in this morning, early in the morning, Mr. Vaghul. He's former chairman of ICICI Bank, joining us to discuss this issue. Very good morning to you, Mr. Vaghul. This is Ira from the Bombay studios. Thanks for taking the time. Mr. Vaghul, we have rarely seen you speak out about ICICI Bank in the last few years since you have exited the bank completely. You're coming out now to speak about this issue, sir. My first question to you is, what is your best understanding of the facts as you may have picked up from the bank and also from the public domain, sir?
There seems to be in the various press reports a lot of genuine misunderstanding about what exactly happened. And the first one is, I think today morning also I was reading in paper, they said ICICI Bank has given a loan of 3,250 crores of rupees on 2012. But on the other hand, if I read the statement issued by the board, what has happened really is a consolidation loan. That means that Videocon had been a client of ICICI Bank since 1985. What has happened is the loans have been given to the Videocon Industries as also to its subsidiaries. State Bank of India as a lead bank decided to consolidate all the loans so that there are 20 members of the consortium banks. What happened in 2012 is not a sanction of any fresh loan of 3,250 crores. It is only a consolidation of the existing loans. This is one factor which seems to have been missed all around by all people. Everybody seems to be under the impression that a new loan has been given on 3,250 crores. The 3,250 crores, according to the inquiries I made in the ICICI Bank, represents the outstanding loans to the Videocon Industries at that particular point of time, which has been in existence for a period of 4 or 5 years in the past, because the previous loans must have been repaid. And I think that is one factor. And the second factor, I think, which has not gained a lot of attention, is the fact this loan, which was consolidated in 2012, had been performing very well till 2017. That means for a period of 5 years there has been no default in respect of interest and principal. That factor has not also been brought to light. In 2017 it has become non-performing. And when it becomes non-performing, I suppose the insolvency code will kick in. And Videocon will have to go through the whole process of either as a going concern somebody bids for it, or if it is liquidated, it has to be liquidated and the assets sold. And Mr. Dut has said that the bank, the company has enough assets on the ground in order to take care of the loan facilities. I mean, these are some of the nicer details, nuances, which seem to have been missed in the broader picture that has emerged, namely that as though that ICICI Bank has done something wrong. That's the reason, that's my initial reaction to this.
Mr. Vaghul, just on that point of the fact of a new loan versus consolidation of existing facilities, the board statement does say that it sanctioned its share of facilities aggregating about 3,250 crore. I, in fact, had put a specific question to the bank asking whether any fresh sanction happened at that particular credit committee meeting or that year. They did not clarify that to me. But it is your understanding, sir, that no fresh sanction was given at that time?
No, I did clarify. I asked my friends in ICICI Bank. I left the bank about 10 years back. So I asked them what exactly has happened. They said they confirmed two things. One, the 3,250 crores of rupees represents the outstandings to the Videocon at that time. And as a result of that consolidation, no sanctions have been given subsequently. And secondly, it did not represent any increase in the exposure of ICICI Bank as a result of the consolidation. The amount remains the same.
Sure.
In fact, the ICICI's share in the total consortium has come down from 10% to 9% or something like that.
Mr. Vaghul, I just want to, okay, so even if one assumes that there was no fresh sanction as part of this, do you not believe that in the interest of best governance practices, Mrs. Chanda Kochar should have recused herself, because it's tough to buy the board's argument that there was no conflict of interest. The dealings between, or no potential for conflict of interest, the dealings between Mrs. Kochar's husband and the Videocon are fairly direct, and these are documented in ROC documents. Would it have not been best governance practice for Mrs. Kochhar to recuse herself from dealings with the Videocon group?
No, but at that time, 2012, it was only a consolidation. It was not a fresh loan. But in any case, insofar, I want you to distinguish between these two. Insofar as the bank itself is concerned, the loan itself will be treated just like any other loan. I don't think the bank is in any way is going to be impacted as a result of if there is a breach on the part of Mrs. Kochhar from the governance point of view. The bank is not affected by that. The bank will continue to report its earnings and other things, and I don't think there is going to be a decline in the bank's performance as a result of that. The second issue what we are talking about is the propriety of Kochhar family, Chanda Kochhar or Deepak Kochhar, is an entirely different issue. And that issue, whether they have committed an impropriety or whether there is any advantage accruing to them as a result of Deepak Kochhar's company, is a matter which is already being processed by the CBI through the preliminary inquiry. And I, for one, would not jump into any conclusions on that, whether there is a culpability on the part of these people. It has to wait till the preliminary inquiry disputes it. Mr. Dut has said that there is no connection between him and New Power. Like that, we need to know what exactly are the facts before we can react to that.
Even if there is no impropriety, sir, my point simply is that there are dealings. You're the MD of, Mrs. Kochhar is the MD of, ICICI Bank, the second largest now private bank by assets. Surely, in order to ring fence the bank from any such concerns, a seasoned leader would just say that I'm not going to be part of these dealings because someone somewhere could raise questions down the line. Would that, in your view, be the best governance practice, sir?
Yeah, but I don't know that. I don't know the details, but what I hear from, to the best of my knowledge, is that 2012, when this matter was decided, there was no connection between Videocon and her husband's company. I mean, if that's a fact, that's something which has to be established. If that's a fact, then I see no reason why Chanda Kochhar should recuse herself.
So there were dealings; those are documented in ROC documents. Okay.
On the other hand, no, but ROC document apart, I mean, I would rather wait in these matters for the preliminary inquiry by CBI and get over and say what exactly is the connection between Videocon and Deepak Kochhar's company before one could really say whether Mr. Chanda Kochhar should have done this or that.
So is it incumbent upon the board to do a slightly deeper sort of check, whether internally or externally? The board seems to have rushed through this clean chit that they have given Mrs. Kochhar. Should they at least, once again, for the sake of ICICI Bank, conduct an external inquiry so that some of these concerns, if they are just concerns, can be laid to rest?
That's a good view. That is certainly a possibility, but I don't know. I cannot speak on behalf of the board, but they could have done that easily. But ICICI Bank both felt that they had enough materials with them. There is no need for any further investigation, and based on their investigation, they must have come out with that statement.
Okay. Mr. Vaghul, the story has not died down. There are now reports about another family-linked business. And, again, I completely understand that these have not been proven by an investigative agency. So you have run banks. You know how sensitive these organizations are. They are deposit-taking organizations. You have run ICICI Bank in tough times. If ICICI Bank has to act in the best way to protect the bank, not protect a leader, what would you advise them to do right now, sir?
No, I mean, I'm asking them to put all facts before the public domain, that's all. I mean, that's the reason why I was willing to stick my neck out and talk to you. Well, I have no interest in the bank, but it's the interest, for example, the 3,250 crores of rupees. Everybody whom I talked to yesterday when I came to Bombay, they were saying that they all believe that it is a fresh loan that has been given. That confusion arose because of the lack of a clear statement on the part of the bank. The bank should put everything in the public domain, and then the public, and that I suppose to some extent will be taken care of by the CBI's preliminary inquiry, which will collect all the facts and put it in the public domain, and then the public domain can really take care of what is really happening in the bank. My own personal view is that we are confusing between two things. One, the bank's position and the co-chair's position. I think bank is, and so far as the bank is concerned, the Videocon loan is a normal loan that has been given, aggregated and part of the consortium. It has become bad and it will be dealt with as any other bad asset. It will be fully provided for and will be taken to the bankruptcy proceedings in the normal course. I don't think that co-chair's involvement in any other thing is going to affect very much the ICICI Bank functioning. And whether, insofar as the co-chair's connection is concerned, this is something which I suppose at the present stage, well, your statement that they could have gone into an external inquiry, there's a point in what you say. But having now reached a point where CBI has taken charge of that preliminary queries, that they have to finish it and come out with a statement.
All right, Mr. Vaghul, I think you make an important point in needing to distinguish between the bank's position and Mrs. Kochhar position. I think it's incumbent upon both Mrs. Kochhar and the bank's board to do that in some ways. But Mr. Vaghul, good to speak to you, sir, even in these difficult circumstances for ICICI Bank, but good to hear your voice, sir.